Well, ladies and gentlemen, that'll do it for the 2022 NHL Winter Classic. Now, I'm just gonna say that was nothing better than what I've ever watched. Now, it's never gonna compare to 2020. Nothing will compare to 2020 and how entertaining that was. But this one was very fun as well. Let me just say, it was hella cold. I mean, I wasn't even there. My friend Chance was there. Shout out to Chance. Yeah, his name's Chance. He was at the game. It was freezing. I heard it was like negative 24 degrees Celsius and negative 31 degrees, or negative 31 degrees Celsius, negative 24 degrees Fahrenheit. Got the two mixed up. So that was how it was at the start of the game. It got much less colder towards the end. It was like -9 by the end of the game. So it got much less colder, but that is freezing. And I was so surprised. So St. Louis, they're coming out with a 4-2 win versus the Edmonton Oilers. And Minnesota Wild, they're coming off of a 7-4 loss against the Dallas Stars. They lost 4 in a row up to this point. Now it's 5, obviously. Fun fact, I watched both of those games, so that's interesting. It was Binnington versus Talbot at the start. It changed later in the game, but it was Binnington versus Talbot at the start. So let's get into the first period. There was a Jordan Kyrou shot that was stopped by Cam Talbot. Huge shout out to Jordan Kyrou. Kyrou played crazy in this game, and I'm very impressed with the way that he played. The Blues were applying pressure early, and that pretty much was a theme until the third period. Perron was denied a shot by Talbot. Fiala got the Wild's first shot at the 13-minute mark. So, I mean, Fiala, he was also one of the best players with the Wild, and I'm pretty impressed with him, and I've liked him for many, many years, so I'm not surprised that he was the best player coming out of this. The shots were 7-1 St. Louis at 10 minutes. Nico Sturm wraparound was stopped by Binnington, and then there was a scruffle. Now, if you've been a viewer of me for a long time, you would know that I invented that term at the beginning of the 2021 playoffs, where whenever they would get into, like, not fights, but disagreements after the whistle, I would call it a scruffle. So there you go. That was, like, one of the only scruffles that we saw in this game, because I think both teams were pretty miserable that, like, they didn't really want to fight. And we saw a lot of that, too. And we heard that, like, everything was so much louder. I don't know if that was because it was a Winter Classic or it was because it was freezing cold. So there was a Perron chance that was denied by Talbot. Then St. Louis got a penalty. Now, St. Louis, that was really the only problem that I saw with St. Louis's game tonight. Klim Kostin took a penalty for tripping. I was kind of shocked it was a tripping penalty. It didn't really look like it was that bad of a penalty. And then it was killed off, so luckily there, St. Louis got the kill off. There was a Goligoski shot that was stopped. Goligoski, former Arizona Coyote. I miss him. He looked solid in the game today. There was a Saad shot that was denied by Talbot, and then the Blues got on the board. It was David Perron, his 8th of the year, from Ryan O'Reilly and Marco Scandella. It's 1-0 St. Louis. The shots were 14-4 St. Louis with 5:25 left, and then the Minnesota Wild got on the board. Kirill Kaprizov, who was another notable Minnesota Wild player in this game. He was assisted by Hartman and... so he was assisted by Hartman, and then what happened after that was that there was a lot of own goals, or a lot of goals that deflected off own players before it went to the net. Mikkola was an example of that. Mikkola kind of shot it in himself pretty much. He was aimed in the shot position, which is kind of weird, and I was like, what? Are you trying to turn on your own team? Kind of weird, but you know what? I guess it was pretty cool seeing that, and it was pretty cool experiencing that. But there was a lot of own goals in this game. So there was a St. Louis penalty. Again, it was newly St. Louis Blue Logan Brown for tripping. Then there was a Minnesota penalty pretty much 20 seconds into that penalty. Dmitry Kulikov for interference. There was 4-on-4 for 1:42. Both penalties were killed off, and then there was a Brown backhand that was stopped before the first period came to an end. The shots were 14-6 St. Louis after 1. And then the crazy Jordan Kyrou themed second period came in. Jordan Kyrou started off the period with a goal. 27 seconds in, his 11th of the year, unassisted. It went off the stick of Hartman. So like I said, there was a lot of own goals in this game. That was another example of it. The shots were 16-8 Blues at 17 minutes and 19 seconds. There was a lot of back and forth play for a lot of points there. Not a lot of shots, just kind of back and forth where they would kind of pass the puck in the zone. Team would turn it over, and then they go back down the other way. Same thing would happen, kind of in a loop for a little bit there. There was a Hartman drive that was denied by Binnington. There was clear frustration in Minnesota. Minnesota looked pretty angry at this time, and it would only get worse. There was a Saad chance that was stopped by Talbot, And then Vladimir Tarasenko gets on the board from Kyrou and Thomas. Big setup by Kyrou there. Great pass. Tarasenko's 14th of the year for a 3-1 St. Louis lead. And like I said, Jordan Kyrou was crazy in this game. 3 pages worth of notes, by the way. Shots were 19-11, St. Louis with 10:57 remaining. There was a St. Louis penalty then. It was Mikkola for interference. Then the training staff, we saw something interesting there. The training staff was like putting ointment on the players that like they were putting on their ears that was like generate heat. And you could tell it was kind of affecting the Minnesota Wild players that I saw it. If you watched the TNT broadcast like I did, which you see the garbage thing in the corner, obviously there, you could see that like he was kind of stung out by it. I'm not sure which Minnesota Wild player it was, but there you go. The penalty was killed off, and the Wild were 0 for 3 on the power play up to that point. It was a rough night for the Minnesota Wild power play. There was a Kalen Addison drive that was stopped by Bennington, and I gotta give credit to that line and that pairing. Jordan Greenway, he's a notable guy there. He's always winning the one-on-ones. That's one thing I noticed. That's something that Keith Jones noticed as well midway through the second period there, is that whenever that line was on the ice, they would always win those one-on-ones. So Greenway, he struggled this season, so it's good that he had a solid game there. Maybe he can build off of it. So we'll see what happens there. There was an O'Reilly shot that was stopped. O'Reilly is just such a calm captain. He's always getting in there with teams like, all right, let's go boys, let's go boys, let's go boys, and all that good stuff. There was a Minnesota penalty, Nico Sturm for slashing, and you see Ryan O'Reilly yell, let's go boys, power. So it's so funny. And I just love that part of the game. There was a Jordan Kyrou shot that was denying his second goal of the game. And that caused a rebound for Ivan Barbashev, which he got his 12th of the year from Kyrou, as I mentioned, and Pavel Buchnevich to make it 4-1 St. Louis. And then not long after that, this is when the goals started going. Jordan Kyrou got his second of the game and his 4th point of the period from Tarasenko, his 12th of the year, to make it 5-1 St. Louis. The shots were 25-13 Blues with 1:53 left. And then the Wild get on the board. Now, this was a game full of weird bounces and own goals, and that's something I really noticed. And the Rem Pitlick goal was an example of that. Rem Pitlick gets his 6th of the year from Victor Rask. He shoots the puck from behind the net, trying to feed the centering pass, but it bounces off the stick of Perunovich, who is also a young rookie that I really like, and then off of Binnington's mask and into the net. So that's something that's some interesting own goal that you see. You don't see that too often, but it is funny when it does happen. And then not long after that, when you think the Wild will get the momentum, since there's pretty much no time left, Torrey Krug gets on the board, his 5th of the year, from Ivan Barbashev, and makes it 6-2. And it was pretty clear that Talbot was going to be gone after that. The shots were 20-15 for the Blues after 2. Some notable things that we learned in the intermission. Kyrou is the first outdoor player to record more than 3 points in a game. And he recorded 4 in a period. That's crazy. So he made some history there. And then something I noticed is that when they went back to intermission right after the period was over, they went to the TNT guys, whereas Liam McEwen, Rick Tocchet, and Anson Carter. They noticed that Biz Nasty and Wayne Gretzky weren't there, and that's kind of funny. They came in late, which is something I thought would be funny to mention for those who don't have ESPN. Anyways, moving on to the third period. The third period had a lot more notes. Talbot out, Kakkonen in. When Kakkonen came into the into the game, he looked miserable. He looked like he wanted to die. I'm like, oh, I'm not playing. This sucks. Well, lucky for him, he got to play. And it was all right. He played all right, I thought. There was a Minnesota penalty on Rem Pitlick for tripping that was killed off. Tarasenko's shot was denied by Kakkonen in there. As mentioned, he didn't let in any goals, so that's good to see from Kakkonen there. He could be getting the start next game. The shots were 30-11 Blues with 14:04 left. There was a Goligoski shot that was denied by Binnington, and then Ryan Hartman gets on the board. Former Philadelphia Flyer there. His 15th of the year from Zuccarello and Kaprizov. He makes it 6-3. So there's a lot of time left at that point. There was like around 13, 14 minutes left there. So the Wild had a chance to get on the board and try and make this game closer. And, they tried doing that. And there was a Kaprizov chance that was stopped by Binnington. And the Wild then, this is when the Wild really took control of the period. They finally were starting to get chances, and it showed. They started rolling, and they really need to build off of that into the next game. Although they did lose this game, their third period was tremendous, so they definitely need to build off of that. There was a Minnesota penalty, or a St. Louis penalty on Colin Parayko for interference, which called Dean Evanson to be like, oh yeah, let's pull the goalie. Pull the goalie with 7:50 remaining, and then the penalty was killed off. And here's another play. Barbashev misses the empty net. He could have gone up more to secure the game to make it 7-4, and then it would have killed Minnesota's hopes. And you never know what would happen after that. But he misses the open net, and the Wild take advantage of it. They come down the other way, and Kevin Fiala gets the goal, his 7th of the year from Kaprizov and Goligoski. Kaprizov, another notable guy there as well. Kaprizov, as I said earlier, another really good guy. Him, Fiala, Hartman, Goligoski, and Fiala, those guys were really solid this game. Berube then calls a timeout because, okay, it's 6-4. We need to get our boys together here. He tells the guys, quick shifts, get it together, dump the puck, don't ice it, and they pretty much did that for the most part. They had a couple icings in there. Kakinen was then pulled again with 5:23 left. Thomas shot wide of the empty net. Fiala shot denied by Binnington. There was a crazy bounce that goes to Binnington, but he saved it. It bounced off the boards and went into Binnington, and Binnington saved it. Good thing he's quick on his toes there. O'Reilly shot wide and iced the puck for the first time. There was a Sundqvist. Sundqvist also then dumped wide, and he iced it. And then there was a Kulikov shot denied. Shots were 31-28 Blues with a minute 13 left. There was another Fiala shot stopped, and O'Reilly fanned on the empty net shot, and that pretty much did it for the game. That pretty much did it for the 2022 Winter Classic. Final score was 6-4 St. Louis. The shots were 33-32 for Minnesota. In my opinion, these are the actual third stars. In my opinion, these are the third stars. First star, Kyrou. He had a lot of great chances. 4-point period. Unbelievable. Second star, Binnington. He really stood on his toes when he had to. Third star, Fiala. You could argue Kaprizov in there as well because he had assists on a lot of wild goals. But I thought Fiala was really good grit-wise and really good with scoring goals. So there you go. That is it for the 2022 NHL Winter Classic. Let me know your thoughts. If you were there, let me know. Let me know your favorite thoughts were in the comments below. If you guys want to see my review of the 2020 NHL Winter Classic, you can take a look at this card here. I'm going to post it right here. This is my first ever video, fun fact. And it's going to be 2 years ago today where I made that. So that's unbelievable. We're almost at the 2-year mark of this channel. It's been crazy. So thank God for watching Friday Sports Light. I really do appreciate it. If you guys subscribe, that'd be great. And I will see you guys in the next video. Adios.